Everyone hates supervillains until they start making good points. Until they start humiliating their opponents in a mayoral debate and winning an election. What's a superhero supposed to do when his opponent isn't killing people, but instead calling him out? The mayoral debate was lively and active. Night Watch stood at the top of the city, looking down, making sure that everything was okay. Suddenly, the power cut out. People in the crowd screamed. The candidates stumbled. Night Watch put on his goggle vision, and he saw the talking knife take the stage. Night Watch wouldn't let the talking knife attack them. He grappled down, flying onto the stage, and landed just as the lights turned on. The talking knife was a tall, bald man who never spoke. Instead, he held a knife that had a mouth on it, and he pointed right at Night Watch. "Thanks for joining us, Night Watch," the talking knife said. "You're exactly who I wanted to invite." All the people in the crowd were stunned. They'd heard about the talking knife in press bulletins. They knew that he was Night Watch's worst enemy, Night Watch, the superhero who kept them safe. And yet the talking knife wasn't attacking. He was just talking. There was a moment of limbo. "You rely too much on superheroes who wear masks to keep you safe. Look at them. The other candidates don't care. Night Watch is good for their business. He doesn't require police resources. He doesn't require accountability in the courts. This city is just as corrupt now as it was 10 years ago when Night Watch started saving lives." Night Watch couldn't believe what was happening. "Come quietly," Night Watch said. He tried to put the talking knife in cuffs, but the talking knife ducked under him and held the knife to the crowd. "Look what he tries to do to someone trying to debate on a mayoral stage. Isn't that interesting? Look at these other candidates, both career politicians. It doesn't matter if they win or lose, they're still going to be rich, and you people still aren't going to afford to live. Well, guess what? This is still a free country, right?" The talking knife held the knife close to Night Watch's face, chuckling. "Right, Night Watch?" Night Watch took a step back. He didn't like the spotlight. He preferred to be in the shadows. But the crowd was looking at him in rapt attention. "Thank you. Let me finish my point. If I win the mayoral election, things are gonna really change for all of you." The people in the crowd started murmuring. He was right about Night Watch. He protected people, but the systems were still horrible. The city was still a horrible place to live. And this talking knife, he was a villain, but when was the last time he did anything villainous anyway? "Thank you," the talking knife said. "I've had my soldiers outline my policies. It should be hitting your phones right now." Night Watch's communicator buzzed. He saw people in the crowd checking their phones. "I'm not gonna force this election. I might be a villain, but I'm not an animal." The talking knife chuckled and then turned, facing Night Watch. "I haven't committed any crimes," the talking knife said. "What are you gonna do? Throw me in jail?" It was true, unfortunately, that the talking knife hadn't committed any crimes. Night Watch always contented himself with stopping criminals when they were in the act, but he couldn't control the courts. He didn't want to control every aspect of the system in this city. And the courts had declared the talking knife legally insane. His talking knife was confiscated, but he can create another one whenever he wants. And at this point, Night Watch was at a loss for words. "I liked you better when you were burning down hospitals," Night Watch said. The talking knife chuckled. "Oh, didn't you hear? I'm clinically insane. Ta-ta." Night Watch tried to keep people safe as the election loomed on. He was horrified to find billboards for the talking knife everywhere, promising insane slogans like "kill all politicians" and "no masks forever." Night Watch wanted to focus on his work. He did a great job breaking up a criminal ring, but still, even the criminals he apprehended seemed to be laughing at him. "Look at you in your dark cape and mask," a hooker said as Night Watch pushed her into the back of a car. "You're going to be gone soon when the election's over." Night Watch swallowed, trying to figure out what was happening. The talking knife was like a ghost between press appearances. Night Watch still couldn't find out where he was hiding, and that concerned him deeply. He saw his supporters everywhere, shaving their heads, carrying little kitchen knives with mouths painted on them for fun. And Night Watch was puzzled. He was meant for dissecting criminal systems and punching people in the face, but traditional politics was taking things a little too far. There was a big debate the night before the election. That would be the last time the talking knife made an appearance before, oh God, he was polling really well. Before the talking knife potentially won the election and plunged the city into chaos. The lights went on in the debate. The number one mayoral candidate spoke. "I'm running against a mass murderer who has a talking knife," he he chuckled. Why is this a conversation again? My track record has proven that I have done great things for the people of Night City. And I've... Boo! Somebody chanted from the crowd, standing up, wearing a makeshift robe with a shaved head and a fake plastic knife. You're dead when the talking knife comes into office. Everyone laughed. The politician swallowed. Nightwatch again stood, watching the debate. He promised himself he wouldn't get involved until a crime was committed. And right now, the talking knife was spotless. He was playing this game perfectly. The talking knife cleared his throat. We all know this election is over anyway. Everyone in the crowd laughed. Nightwatch looked down and he saw that most of the people in the crowd were laughing. They were loving this. Didn't they know that the talking knife was a murderer? A serial killer with magic? What was going on? But he swallowed and he told himself he wouldn't let himself get involved as the talking knife continued to speak. If I killed my opponent right on the stage and it made your cost of rent go down, what would you say? The entire crowd burst out laughing and cheered. If I killed my opponent on the stage and it made it easier to raise a family in this town, what would you say? Everybody laughed and cheered for this guy. Nightwatch was uncomfortable. Was he inciting a riot? What was happening? The other opponent tried to get a word in edgewise, but the talking knife put the knife up to the opponent's face. The truth is, buddy, if I plunged this bad boy into your neck and it made all the corrupt elites in this town go bye-bye, everybody would thank me. What does that say about you, buddy boy? Am I the supervillain? Or is the real supervillain you? That's enough. Nightwatch glided down and landed onto the stage. I'm taking him into custody, he said in a microphone, and he put the talking knife in cuffs. As he walked the talking knife towards the squad car, the talking knife kept speaking to the crowd. Oh, look! The superhero who's supposed to protect you is instead protecting the corrupt politicians. Is anybody surprised? The crowd started screaming now, angry. They knocked down a barrier. Security was overwhelmed as the crowd rushed onto the stage towards Nightwatch. The other politician was consumed by the crowd. Nightwatch had no choice. He dropped a flashbang, blinding the people in the crowd, and grappled, pulling the talking knife up to the top of a building. Fun's over, Nightwatch said. Oh, I don't think so, Talking Knife said. The fun is just beginning. Nightwatch had to sit next to the Talking Knife's prison cell as the election went on. He tried as much as he did, but the laws of the election allowed a criminal to be elected. Maybe this whole not intervening with the justice system thing wasn't going so well, but he hoped and prayed that the other candidate would get a foothold. It's going to be so much worse than you can even imagine, by the way, the Talking Knife said to Nightwatch. When I win, it's going to be no superheroes allowed. And then, me and my friends, we're going to go free. Nightwatch swallowed. He obsessively checked metrics in his cave, seeing the election results in real time, and he couldn't believe it. No! He broke his keyboard. The next day, the people crowded around the jail. They chanted, "Let him out! Let him out! Let him out!" And reluctantly, the prison guards opened the doors. The talking knife, in his robes, holding the knife high above so all the crowd could see, put his arms out, welcoming the citizens of his new city. This is the dawn of a glorious age, the talking knife said. The first thing I'm gonna do when I'm in office is I'm gonna blam! The talking knife was shot right through the chest. His knees buckled, and he fell on the steps of the town square. Nightwatch didn't want to kill him. In fact, he had said that he would never kill. But this was too crazy. This he had to stop. And as the talking knife bled out onto the city steps, he was laughing. The talking knife continued to speak, even as he died. You all know who shot me, the talking knife said. What are you gonna do? Keep suffering under his boot? Or, the talking knife said, are you gonna take what's yours? There was one more thing the talking knife said the night before the election, only to Nightwatch. Democracy is a wonderful system, the talking knife had said. It's the only system that makes any sense to a person like me. But here's the thing, the talking knife started laughing. I'm clinically insane.